So I'm gonna show it to you really quickly, since you're the only one on, so it's all good. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, when I go through this with people, this is when let's say I'm doing a sales call, right?
Right.
Then they get an idea, okay, like I know now how I'm gonna get the result. So
Mm-hmm.
like I talk about how I'm gonna consistently get people to the point where they're getting 10K plus a month, right? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so what does that look like? What do I gotta do?
Yeah.
So you have to build out your offer, you have to put out the profile, you have to get your messaging right, you got to get the content and the lead gen and the Facebook group
Yeah.
set up, your email. And so now they see it and they're like, oh, wow, this is actually doable,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then, on top of that, it's like, okay, so how are you going to deliver it? What kind of support you're going to give? But that's the basis, right? Like that's how you want to start building it out.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just go. Well, firstly, like when we're talking about real estate, okay, the dream outcome of your client, right? I want to buy
Mm-hmm.
my dream home. It's an investment. I'm a first time home buyer, right? So
Right.
those are the specific goals or results you're trying to get, right?
Right.
And then so whatever that is, like it makes it a little bit more specific each time, right, depending on the
Mm-hmm.
people.
Okay.
But you're going to give them a breakdown in terms of, okay, this is what you need, and this is the, let's say it's the type of lending that you need to have,
Yeah.
or you can get approved for the first time home buyers.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an investor, you can do so and so, and you can be a B lender or whatever, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
I'm throwing
Yeah.
stuff out there. I'm not a realtor, but I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
throwing
Yeah.
stuff out
Yeah.
there so you get an idea, right?
So basically,
So
expand your portfolio. You know
yeah,
what? Outsource to like commercial realtors and like financial advisors and everything. Okay.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So when you're gonna give them the dream outcome, you want to kind of give them a timeline. So when I
Yeah.
talk about my 9-step blueprint, for example, it's anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks for me to get them that result, right?
Mm-hmm.
It all usually depends on how much experience they have online. If they got
Mm-hmm.
zero experience, most likely it's going to be 12 weeks. If they got
Mm-hmm.
good amount of experience, yeah, we can probably get there in 8 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and then a lot of times they have no idea as to, well, how I'm going to get the result, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
confused, they're like, I don't know how to do this, like I just need the mentorship or the coaching, right? So you want to build out, before you put out your offer, you want to build out every little step. So when I talk about the profile and I talk about the message and I talk about lead, it's because I went through all of those, and I went through all the struggles that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on top of that, it's also like you want to put in steps that they don't even know of,
Right.
right? Like,
Right.
let's say their goal, like say a client's goal is to get to 10K. Okay,
Yeah.
well, one of the goals I'm going to put is like, well, what are you going to do when you're after 10K?
Mm-hmm.
How to scale and who you got to add onto your team, and
Mm-hmm.
hiring VAs and maybe even doing ads and that kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to
Mm-hmm.
list out the problems, and then even the ones that they aren't aware of. Because if you're presenting that,
Yeah.
then that looks like, oh wow, he's telling me about something that I'm gonna achieve after my result. You get what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? So
Yes.
it makes it that much more of a selling point,
Well, of
right?
course. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
gravy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. On top. So,
Yes.
and then, when you're talking about all those problems, the pains and fears that they have, right? We want to answer all these objections. They're
Mm-hmm.
confused. Can I trust this person? Is he going to take my money? This online world, everybody's scamming people, that kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And is it going to work for me? What's the time commitment? How hard is it going to be?
Mm-hmm.
I outline it, based on that, and then I try to answer all those questions and say, and just be honest. Like I'm going to give you this step to do by next week. I want it to be done, and that's how
Yeah.
we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
Along there, I 24/7 support. Message me. You know what I mean? If we need to do an extra call, that type of thing. So it just
Mhm.
puts them at ease, right? They're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, so he's gonna guide me along the way, right?
Yeah. So true.
Eh, Yeah,
Everybody needs
exactly.
that. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like a lot of people think that they're gonna get, they get coaching or mentorship or whatever, or consulting, and people, they just get hung out to dry, and like people take their money or whatnot. And that's,
Mhm,
well, we'll discuss that down the road, but even in terms of my payments, I split it up in terms of weekly or bi-weekly. So it's
mhm,
not like rarely does a person have a position that would pay two, three, $4,000 right up front, right? So,
mhm, mhm.
and then that makes it more trustworthy. Like, well, if he wants to get his money, he has to do his service too. You know what
Of
I mean?
course, of course.
Yeah,
Well, nobody
yeah,
works for free, right?
yeah,
So it's just
exactly.
like even real estate, like you gotta be
Yeah,
accountable and you gotta be
yeah,
professional. You gotta, just referrals. That's what we work on, right?
yeah, 100%.
So,
So yeah, so when you have all those problems and list out every solution, even the ones that they don't even know, right?
yeah.
And then, when you're talking about messaging, you want to have like a specific theme. So I'm gonna help the person achieve this outcome in
Mhm,
this amount of time without this frustrating pain point, right? So like
yeah.
I'd be like, I help people, coaches or consultants, reach 10K plus months in 8 to 12 weeks without them having to do ads or having to do too much technical stuff. I offer to do all the technical stuff like the leads and the email and all that. So inside of the message, I have
Yeah.
answered a lot of their objections, right?
So when you say that you've done leads and gen, like I work with the lead gen company myself, and
Sure,
my
yeah.
CRM that I use is Line Desk.
Okay, is
Um,
that software?
it's a software for CRM, and it has campaigns that it automatically sends my emails, realtor emails to
Got it.
them, and then
Good.
I follow up with them, and then that's where I make my phone calls and all, right?
Perfect.
So I do try to do a lot of Instagram, but you know what? There's only so much time a realtor has
Yeah. I
to
think,
delegate and to do themselves.
yeah, I think there's a couple of things that you can do. There's all forms of content too, right? So if you have like the email blast, like campaign, is it like
Yeah.
a blog post or is it written?
It's pre-written, yes.
Yeah, okay. So if it's a written, there can be one that's written. Video is the one that gets the most
Of
engagement,
course.
right? Like I'm helping a realtor right now, and he was so afraid just to get in front of the camera.
I know.
I'm like, just talk about a problem. And he's like, well, first home buyer don't know if they can afford a house. Okay, give me a 30-second video on that, right? And then the
Mhm.
next, what's another problem people will face if they're
Yeah.
needing a contractor or whatnot, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
you
yeah,
you
yeah,
you
yeah.
discuss that. So
Yeah.
if you have a piece of written, then you have a video, and then you want some sort of an engagement type of post. So let's
Mhm.
say anyone here, first time home buyer, or you can say anybody here needing a rental property, or
Yeah.
just something to engage, right? So they're going to reach out and say, hey, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's like a warm to hot lead, right? They just want
Mhm.
some quick advice, right? And if you're
Exactly.
able to get quick advice, you know how it is. It's about relationship,
Mhm.
right?
Of
They
course.
build
Of
that
course.
trust with them, and then
Yeah.
that
Well,
can
yeah.
be a
You got to
referral,
give,
or
not expect. Yeah.
exactly, and then that could lead to a referral, or they can refer you to somebody too,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well,
So
that's the way you should do. Like even with my real estate, like, I try to meet as the contractors. It's a
yeah.
one-stop shop, right? Like, and that's how you gain trust, which is
Hmm.
which is the main thing. But now I basically have to, like, put it in writing, and I gotta put it more in social media, and it's a lot of work. It is.
It's not at the end of the day, if you get it organized,
Yeah.
it's
It's a
about
turnkey.
hour and a half. I would say hour to hour and a half a day.
Right.
You're gonna, so putting out the content and then engaging with the content, right?
True.
But
True.
if you can, but you gotta spend that like 2 to 3 hours on the weekend or whenever you that block of time to organize the week. And that's what I'm trying to teach the realtor that I'm working with right now.
Mhm.
Is like, if you map it out, then it's just a matter of doing.
Yeah.
You're not worrying about, oh, what do I got to put out. If you're doing that
Yeah.
on the same day, you get scrambled, right? That's what
So,
happens.
so when you're coaching, like how do
Yeah.
you, like, what's your schedule and how do you do it? Like I've never done this myself. I've
Yeah.
always coached
So
myself actually.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. So I'm usually it's once a week, and
Okay.
it depends on where they're at and the level of coaching that they need. But yeah, usually, weekly, and then I'll say, okay, this is what I want you to do for this week. And then and if it's something technical, and then I'm like, okay, in the back end, all right, I'll help, I'm gonna put this together, but I want you to do this, or I want you to just put out one video, or I want you to give me a lead magnet, or I want you to give me 3 pieces of content. This is what they want it to look like. So I give them like little homework and little projects to do
Yeah.
week to week. And then just by the end of it, once we've gotten the foundation and then the content and then how do we do it, then it just cycles through. Because if the whole point is for you to make appointments. So if you have
Okay.
appointments on a weekly basis, you got the business. That's the
Yeah.
business. If you don't,
Yeah.
then something's missing. So
Yeah.
you want to cycle through the content leads to conversations, you book appointments, sales calls, clients, right? But that's on a weekly basis, right?
Yeah.
Putting out the proper content, but that's everywhere: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, if you can,
Mm-hmm.
and then email, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
even if you have a YouTube channel, plaster it on YouTube, and then that, and but it's not like you make a different piece of content for everything. It's like I make one video per day, right? But that same video, I repurpose it on Instagram, Facebook, on YouTube, and then I take the YouTube link and I throw it in my email. Like, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't make like that many pieces of content. It looks like I did, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's how you're gonna get on different platforms, people engaging and
Mm-hmm.
growing your following, and then people reaching out to you and all that kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
I would recommend at least 2 to 3 pieces of content a day, right? So
A
at least
day.
one video, yeah, at least one video and probably one engagement post. And if you can do the written part, the written post, like the thing is that I don't know the software that you have, but do they have any kind of materials, like marketing materials that you can
No,
use?
if I was to, well, you always have your market updates, but it's just everything's the same. Like every realtor,
Yeah,
okay, let me give you a market update of Kukutlam or like in
yeah,
downtown or
yeah,
whatever. Like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
kind of want to
yeah.
be like not boring.
The
Uh,
other the other thing in terms of engagement is like if you're specific in an area,
yeah,
is just talking about like social events or noteworthy events that are happening in this area. Hey, I'm at the so and so wine festival out here, and
yeah,
you know what? If you want to reach out to me, and
yeah.
you can come up with ways, and then
Hmm.
eventually once you start having a bit of a following, then you'll do things like this, like a workshop or a webinar
Hmm. Hmm.
or a live event. Like you can do an
Hmm.
event where they do a meet and greet, and hey,
Hmm.
we're gonna give away bottles of wine for
True,
anybody that meet,
true,
right?
true.
Things like that. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's how you're gonna build your pipeline.
yeah, true,
Yeah.
true.
um yeah, so in terms of how when it's in terms of online, it's like how are you going to fulfill now on the coaching, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
it a done for you where we just do a straight service, or is it done with you like a coaching consulting, or is it do it yourself? They give you like an online course or whatnot, right? So you got to think about that, because that's going to determine your pricing. Because
Well, okay. So coaching. So can you explain further in
yeah,
regards to DFY? Like, what is that
yeah,
service? What does that mean?
done for you would be like if I'm doing your ads. You pay me to do your ads, and it's just you pay me and I provide you the service. A done with you would be coaching, where I'm gonna go through it with you each week, and we're gonna start building your business and your lead gen, right? And then the do it yourself is like I have an online course. It's, I don't know, $200 $300 or whatever, and you just go through that. If you need me, you can reach me online. So it that I combine, sometimes I'll combine these, and
Mm-hmm.
they have a course along with the coaching, but
Mm-hmm.
I never just give a course. Done for you is like I've done Google ads in the past, and I still do them once in a while, but like
You've
that would
done,
be like a
sorry, you've
straight
done what?
with Google ads.
Oh, go
I'm
Google
certi
Ads. Okay.
Yeah, I'm certified in, Are you doing ads at all?
No, you know what? Like I said, okay, I'll give you a bit of my past.
Sure.
So I've been a realtor since 2007. I did a
Okay.
couple of like, major complexes where I sold townhome units and townhome units and everything, like 19 at a time. And then I took a bit of a break, and I opened a pub.
Oh,
A
wow.
salsa bar, yeah.
Okay.
So I did that for 4 to 5 years. So yeah, so this was downtown. I don't know if you've heard of Mangoes.
Mangoes. Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah. So
It's
yeah, so we
it
sold
used
it.
to be, it's like a salsa thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What was it
anyways,
called
before
before?
COVID, it sold, right? So now being
Oh,
back in
okay.
the industry, like I'm getting back into it, and really I want to do the new things now. And I want to, like, I still have my leads. I'm into my lead gen now. I'm making my phone calls.
For
So,
sure.
but I want to do it the right way this time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, at the end of the day, like, putting your message out there and, building out your platform so you're consistently building out. Because the other thing is when you're doing lead magnets, you're doing 4 or 5 in a week. Like
Yeah.
when I do a lead magnet, I like, hey, I got a free script kit that I do to close your sales calls, right? People will reach out for that. But I ask for the phone number, I ask for email, I ask, you know what I mean? And then,
With our
yeah,
thing,
go
we
ahead.
already have that.
Yeah, but how many do you have?
So I pay a guy for lead gen,
Yeah,
that he gives it to me. But then the thing is, I have to phone them and say,
yeah,
hey, this is Angela Judge, you inquired about real estate. So what area are you looking at? Because
yeah,
I've been doing it for 15 years. So I know all the areas now for
yeah,
sure.
of course.
So you know what, if they say, oh, I think I want a 2 bedroom for 500, and I'm saying, good luck. That'll
Yeah,
never
yeah.
happen. So
Yeah,
you know what, like, because I know the product, I'm good at it. But the thing is, in regards to, doing all the Twitters and the Facebooks and all, like, it gets tedious after a while.
the other option, like what I've done, is hired a VA, a virtual assistant.
Yeah.
It's fairly cheap. They're from the Philippines. The one that I got, like, it took me a while. It took me like 3 or 4 to go through. You have to
Yeah.
go through a proper agency that trains them,
Okay.
and they do a lot of the social media and they can do a lot of the phone calls if you train them on
Oh,
scripting.
really?
Yeah, that's that
Oh,
they can book calls for you. So like, hey, I'm a GURPS personal assistant. You had downloaded the so and so. How did you like it? Well, he's GURPS offering 2 free coaching sessions if you want it, and then they book it, right? So
okay.
that's an option for you too, right?
Yeah.
But you want to build everything together, so she has phone calls, on a weekly basis to do,
Right,
all right,
right,
on
right,
top
right.
of putting out your social media. And she
Yeah.
could even do the DMs too, like the scripts when people are putting out content and liking it or commenting on it, like, hey, I'm so and so's personal
Right,
assistant, thank you for liking the comment.
right.
What do you do? Or,
Mhm.
are you in the coaching space? How are you generating leads? Or you can say, are you a realtor? Are you a buyer? Are you a seller? Are you an investor?
Mhm, mhm,
What are you
mhm,
looking to do? And then
mhm.
they do a one-on-one coaching. They set up a one-on-one coaching call like this with you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So like, it takes time and you got to train them properly, but that's
Mhm.
another way that you can offload. And then, week to week, you have appointments getting booked for you. And
Yeah.
then now you got a sustainable business, right? And you're not getting burnt out.
Yeah, well, that's what's happening, because when you're driving so much,
Yeah.
like, you can't make your calls when you're driving. There's no way.
No,
I'll probably
no.
rear end someone like in 2 seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
100%.
but yeah, so you have to be sitting by the thing, but you have so many things to do. And it's basically now, I think I'm at that point. I need time management, and I need to delegate
Yeah.
and do it right. Like, I'm at that, like, no more hustle bustle. You got to think smart.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, you want to be growing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know
So
what you want to
true.
do like a year or 2 years down the road and have your own group or an
Yes.
investment. I don't know, right? But like,
Yes.
the only way you can scale is by people.
Yeah.
right? Or doing ads, but
Mhm.
even with the ads, that you got to fulfill that, you know what I
Mm,
mean, when you get to that level.
yeah.
So yeah, no,